So Baker Mayfield lets it rip on Mark Andrews. Ravens coordinators Zach Orr and Todd Monken talk about this Bucs matchup, and Buccaneers left tackle Tristan Wirfs has a very interesting statement about the Ravens defense, specifically about their physicality not being any different. We also have some top matchups, injury updates, Monday Night Football, 2 4-2 teams going at it in prime time. Let's dive into the content. First of all, we're going to talk about a few of these quotes from both sides, both the Ravens and the Buccaneers. A quick couple of sound bites. We're getting to some. First off, Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield has had some success against the Baltimore Ravens in the past. I remember there was one game where Baker Mayfield shredded the Ravens defense for like 400 passing yards and 5 touchdowns or something. But Lamar Jackson versus Baker Mayfield is 6-3 all time. But like we said, Baker Mayfield has had some success. He does respect this Ravens defense, but one thing that was funny, Baker Mayfield and Mark Andrews are good friends. They were obviously college teammates at Oklahoma, both coming out of the same draft. Lamar Jackson, Baker, Mark Andrews all coming out in 2018. Mark Andrews was in Baker Mayfield's wedding, but Mark Andrews, you know how he is. He's an absolute animal. When it's game time, when it's season time, he locks in. He drowns out all the distractions, so much so that Baker Mayfield says Mark don't even talk to me because he can't separate friendship and football. Here's what Baker Mayfield had to say.
Even though Mark and I are best friends, him and I don't talk in season. He's a weirdo. He can't exactly separate friendship and football. So he struggles with that on a year-to-year basis. So there's a few months at a time where we're friends again, but for right now, no.
What's that like then when you go?
It hurts. What's it like? It hurts. It hurts my feelings. It hurts my feelings. Guy was in my wedding, won't talk to me. It hurts my feelings. Just gonna be honest.
Another big aspect of this game is going to be the Ravens offensive line versus the Bucs' very stout defensive line, which we'll talk about in a second. But here's what offensive coordinator Todd Monken had to say about the Ravens offensive line that has much improved over the last 6 weeks.
Well, Roger's only going to get better. We ended up moving Pat to guard, so we've had a little continuity there. We've run the ball better. We've stayed ahead of the chains better. That's a formula for us to continue to get better. First 2 games we had a lot of 2-minute, get back on track, third downs that are going to expose anybody. It's not just our O-line, everybody, and I think they're going to continue to grow because even Daniel at right guard's a young player. In terms of play, hasn't played a ton, and we played him a lot of tackle. I mean, he's still learning the guard position, so I think they're just going to continue to grow. Ronnie's playing great football for us. Having Ronnie back at a high level, obviously Tyler always plays at a high level, so I think we're in a good spot.
When it comes to this Ravens defense trying to slow down Baker Mayfield in the offense, there's a lot that's in play here. First of all, the Ravens have not handled number 1 stud receivers well. Jamar Chase had a field day, nearly 200 receiving yards. Devontae Adams over 100 yards and a touchdown. Terry McLaurin had success. So Rashee Rice feasted on the Ravens defense as well. So anytime the Ravens have played a top tier receiver, they have not handled them well. But they have an opportunity because the Buccaneers not only have one premier wide receiver in Mike Evans, they got 2.
They've got 2 of the best, and they put those guys in spots. Usually 14's in the slot, usually 13's out there at X. You single him up, he's a problem, and then you got 14 in the slot. If you single him up, he's a problem. They're both catch and run players. They're both contested catch players. Tight ends are playing well, blocking well, making the catches they need to make. 3 backs playing well. They got a young guy, just from Syracuse, from right over here.
Calvert Hall.
He had a bunch of yards and played great. So it's a very deep offense.
Whenever you look at Chris Godwin, who's having a very nice season as well, one of the top receivers in the NFL right now, over 500 receiving yards through 6 weeks. And the Ravens' pass defense is 31st in the NFL right now in the yards per game. So I'm sure Baker Mayfield and this Buccaneers offense is going to be licking their chops, trying to prepare to expose the Ravens' pass defense. I think, however, we're going to be up for the challenge. Lamar might be having his best season ever, and that's crazy because he's already won 2 NFL MVPs. But a big part of that is his command at the line of scrimmage. Second year of the offense with Todd Monken, more comfortability. The receivers as well with Zay Flowers and Rashad Bateman having more familiarity with the offense as well. And I think you're seeing some more comfortability on Baker Mayfield's side with another year in the Buccaneers offense. Now let's flip to what some of the Buccaneers had to say about our Baltimore Ravens. First of all, one of the things that caught my eye is Tristan Wirfs talking about the Ravens' physicality. Now, I know he probably didn't mean it as a slight, but here, check out what he had to say. He was asked about the Ravens' style of defense, and he says nothing really different. Comparing us to the Saints, take a listen.
Yeah, I mean, nothing really different. I mean, they got great rushing defense, but physical game. They're all physical. I mean, we play the Saints twice a year. That's damn near the most sore I am all year is playing those guys. I mean, we had 80 plays against them. But every year, playing the Saints is a grinder. So, we're all used to it. We're all used to physical games. I mean, especially playing up front. We all know they got some big guys. Up front, they got some twitchy guys up front. We know we got to be on top of our P's and Q's. Ready for a fight under the lights.
For some reason, I think that a few Ravens defenders might see that and want to make a point to prove their physicality. Tristan Wirfs is a heck of a football player. Remember Tristan Wirfs and Tyler Linderbaum both came out of the same college. They were actually wrestling competitors. I remember Tyler Linderbaum got the win on Tristan Wirfs on one of those matchups, and he was really pumped about it. There was a clip of it. Tristan Wirfs, one of the best tackles in football. I think the Ravens defense is going to have something to prove as far as physicality wise. And then check out what one of their coaches had to say on facing Lamar Jackson, saying first you got to pray, you got to hope and just wish. It's going to take a group effort. We can't let him kill us. Check out the full quote here.
In terms of the challenge of preparing for a quarterback and all that he can do, what makes Lamar Jackson unique that way?
First, you got to pray. You just got to pray. You got to hope and just wish. And it's going to take a group effort. I mean, even the free safety, everybody's going to have to be responsible for him. At the end of the day, when he drops back and decides to run, it's going to be a challenge. And when he does get tackled, it's a shoestring tackle. So that's when the prayers are going to be needed. But we got a nice plan for him, but his athleticism, him being a quarterback, we had his mercy at times, and we just got to do a good job. Can't let him kill us.
They said they think they have a great game plan versus Lamar Jackson, but obviously acknowledging that he's going to have his moments and make his plays. This game is very exciting because the last time we went into Tampa Bay, Lamar Jackson had a great game. I think Isaiah Likely had himself a day as well. And for whatever reason, the Ravens, when it's primetime, man, they really turn it on and they come to play. Let's get into some of these offensive stats. Take a look at the quarterback comparison here because Baker Mayfield probably playing the best football of his career right now. But Lamar Jackson, 1,529 yards through 6 games, 10 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. Baker Mayfield right behind him in yardage, about 40 yards less, 1,489. But he has 15 touchdowns to 5 interceptions. Baker Mayfield has always been a risky gunslinger, throw it into tight windows type of fearless football player. It's crazy how similar these stats are between these two passers, but obviously Lamar Jackson has 403 rushing yards compared to Baker Mayfield with 136. However, don't sleep on Baker's legs, man. Baker has 2 rushing touchdowns, the same as Lamar Jackson. He's not afraid to go for it in those type of situations. When it comes to total offense, the Ravens are averaging 255 yards per game compared to the Bucs at 248.2. Rushing yards, the Buccaneers have a pretty good run offense as well. 136 yards per game. Bucky Irving has been excellent. Rashad White's been not excellent. It's kind of been banged up in and out of the lineup, and Bucky Irving looks to be taking over as RB1, even as a rookie. The Ravens, obviously the best run offense right now in history. They're on pace to break records. 205.3 rushing yards per game. They also have the best run differential, over 800 yards more than their opponents running the football this year. That's absurd. That's unheard of. Total yards, the Ravens are still number 1 in the NFL, the most yards per game. 453 compared to the Bucs at 367. So Derrick Henry right now, the top rusher in football, 704 rushing yards, 8 touchdowns. That's crazy, man. Derrick Henry is for sure on his way to a Hall of Fame type of career. Bucky Irving, 58 attempts, 328 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Sean Tucker had a massive game last week. Their third string running back got the job done. But check out these receivers. So it's interesting because if I would have told you that Zay Flowers would have more receiving yards than Mike Evans through 6 weeks in the NFL, some of you guys would have thought I was crazy. But I told y'all, man, humble pat on the back. I said, Zay Flowers, I think he's on track for like 1,200 yards, 8+ touchdowns, wide receiver 1 type numbers. So far, he's pretty close to it. 401 yards, a touchdown, and 33 receptions. The Bucs' leading receiver is Chris Godwin. He dealt with an injury in the years past, but he's fully back, fully recovered, showing the explosiveness and the route running. He's a monster out of the slot, but he can also work outside as well. What's interesting here is Mike Evans has 200 less yards, but the same amount of touchdowns. You got to look out for Mike Evans in the red zone. Obviously, his hands, contested catch ability to box out, he's elite in that category. It's what makes Mike Evans, and he still has speed to get past you down the field as well. So top 2 receivers for Ravens, Zay Flowers and Rashad Bateman. Bateman has 273 yards and 2 touchdowns, building the chemistry and trust with Lamar Jackson and Todd Monken, and I think his role will continue to expand. Now, this is one of the big matchups. Let's talk about matchups. Because if Zion McCollum, who's probably their best corner right now for the Bucs, if he follows Zay Flowers, if they end up going toe-to-toe, that leaves a big-time opportunity for Rashad Bateman to go against, their number 3 or number 4 corner, because right now Jamel Dean is not expected to play as well. So I could see a big game from not only Zay Flowers versus Zion McCollum, but Rashad Bateman as well. And a big reason for this is the Buccaneers, they stack the box at the 3rd highest rate in the NFL, which leaves a lot of one-on-one opportunities for the receivers on the outside. And I like Zay Flowers and Rashad Bateman's chances, the way they've been building chemistry and showing their talent on full display. Both Zay Flowers and Bateman can have big games. Another big matchup is the Ravens offensive line versus the very stout Buccaneers defensive line that's getting healthier. Man, their top 3 defensive tackles, Kalijah Kancey, Vita Vea, and Logan Hall. That's one of the best trios in football. Obviously, I'm a little biased. I like Madubuike, Travis Jones, and Michael Pierce. But, man, this Buccaneers trio is really good. I think play action is going to be key to slowing down these rushers from pinning their ears back consistently. However, I could see this turning into a shootout because the Ravens' pass defense is 31st in the NFL, and the Buccaneers is 29th. So 2 poor pass defenses through 6 weeks. Both of these teams could try to expose each other, and they both have pretty good run defenses as well, so this could be a shootout. Another fun matchup is going to be Mike Evans versus Brandon Stephens. Brandon Stephens has been very sticky in coverage. He's been one of the best, actually 4th in the NFL in allowing separation, and so he's very sticky. Some receivers have made great plays on him. And, he has not always gotten his head around to make a play on the football. But Brandon Stephens, it's reported that, he's been even, staying after practice and working on that aspect of his game. I do think he's going to improve. He is very talented, very sticky in coverage. But receivers have had some success with contested catches against him. Now, can he stop that versus Mike Evans, who's one of the best contested catch players in football? That's a big question mark. Now, let's take a look at the defenses real quick. The Bucs are 8th in the NFL in sacks. Logan Hall, been very explosive. I liked him coming out of the draft. The Ravens are 5th in sacks. Run defense, the Baltimore Ravens are 1st in the NFL. The Buccaneers are 13th, but they got some guys back off of injury that can help that statistic out, and they got a pretty solid run defense. Like we said, they like to stack the box as well, so this could be a big opportunity for Lamar Jackson in the air. And like we said, the pass Ds are not good for either team, 31st and 29th, which leads me to believe this could be a high-scoring shootout type of game. When it comes to points per game, the Ravens are 23rd and the Buccaneers are 20th. So for the Ravens, all of the starters were on the field. They have a couple of special teams and depth guys that may not suit up for this game, but all of the key starters for the Ravens are healthy and are expected to play. For the Buccaneers, the big key starter that did not practice is Jamel Dean. Jamel Dean, I think he's a great corner. He has a 73.5 PFF grade this season. He is a starter. But they do have, Tyke Smith and Zion McCollum, and their safeties in Jordan Whitehead and Antoine Winfield are some of the best safeties in the game. So it's not like they don't have talent in the secondary, but it's no doubt that Jamel Dean is a big loss. And then here it's reported that wide receiver Mike Evans was working with a trainer on a side field during the portion of open practice to the media. This is on Friday. He has a hamstring strain and won't practice much this week, but is expected to play versus the Ravens on Monday Night Football per this report. We'll see where that goes because hamstrings can be finicky. And even if he does strap up, is his playing time going to be limited? Is there a high likelihood that he tweaks the hamstring during the game? So it's something to keep an eye out on because no doubt if Mike Evans can't play, it's a big loss for the Buccaneers passing game. So I'm going to go Ravens 35, Buccaneers 31, in a high-scoring, exciting Monday Night Football game. The Ravens are going to Florida. The Ravens have a lot of Florida boys that are going to be excited to be there. Derrick Henry, Nelson Aguilar, Lamar Jackson, Zay Flowers, all Florida guys that are going to be going to their home territory. So I'm excited for it, man. Let me know in the comment section below all of your key matchups, key factors in this game. I love interacting with you guys and hearing what y'all have to say. So thank y'all for tuning in, man. Make sure to hit the like button if you enjoyed today's content. I love you guys. I appreciate y'all, and we'll see you in the next video.
Ray, when he wasn't looking, he ran me over.